Andrew Dunemann, great to see you. First of all, before we get started, how are you experiencing lockdown over there in Australia?
Yeah, it's been all right, mate. We've only been really locked down for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm pretty lucky in the industry that I'm probably heavily involved in now. Horse racing's kept going through it all, so it hasn't been, obviously we've been doing it behind closed doors and whatever else, but we've still been able to get on with our day-to-day sort of roles. So personally, it hasn't really affected me that much. It'll affect us later on for the sales season, stuff like that, and what I do. But it hasn't been good. Obviously, the economy's it's going to take a while for the economy to get back. But I think we've handled it as good as any government. So I think we'll be in good shape when we come out the other side of it.
We've got the NRL starting up in a week's time. Lots of excitement about that. People desperate to see a bit of live rugby league action. Are you looking forward to it?
Oh, mate, yeah. I think, and again, just going on horse racing, it's probably the only sport in Australia that's been able to keep going. So, they've really benefited from that horse racing, and I think rugby league will as well. It'll be great that the games are going to be viewed live into the UK and stuff like that, and they're going to be picked up. So you got a really good chance right now to be audiences, and with that comes all the other side of the other effects, I suppose, sponsorship, gambling. It's part of everything now, and once the rugby league gets back up and running, everyone's going to have their eyes on it.
Looking back on your career, you made your playing in the ARL with Gold Coast under Wally Lewis. What do you remember of those days?
Probably. I was 16, made me debut when I was 17, so it was early. If I had my time again, you do things differently. I think most of us in life would do things differently, but it is what it is, But going there at a young age and playing first grade probably before I was probably ready. It was what it was. Enjoyed my time there. Obviously to the Cowboys, and then ended up over in England. So nice years there before coming back here. So overall, mate, you look back and you got to be happy with what you've sort of achieved.
As a Queensland kid, what was it like playing under Wally Lewis?
It was cool. Yeah, I mean that was, at the time I probably could have went anywhere, and I ended up going there because Wally was the coach, and he's always your idol. He was everyone's idol, in Queensland, and he was just good, obviously, to be around. And then it's probably been later years I've probably got to know him a little bit better than even then. So good person, good bloke, and one of the best players of all time, I suppose.
Your final game for Gold Coast was against the Cowboys, and your brother was on the opposition. Did you know at that point you were going to the Cowboys the following year?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because obviously Simon Super League, so that's where I was allocated to. So that was a quite funny one. I didn't last that game out. I got injured, so that ended up being my last game against my brother, and it was great that in the years following that we could play together, and rather than play against him. So. I think we beat him that night, so I got one over him.
And was that a big draw for you? Obviously, the whole Super League ARL war had kicked off, but the fact you got to play with your brother? Yeah,
it was. I mean, we'd obviously done it together, grew up, and we played in the backyard and whatever else. And it was good playing alongside him, and we had some good games together and whatever else. And he's just a probably different character to me. He's funny. He definitely doesn't take life seriously. I think he's 46 now and still a practical joker around wherever he ends up. So he was sort of a refreshing bloke, a good person to have in your dressing room. He never took things too seriously. So, and he's still like that now as a brother. So he's obviously good to play with him, and obviously good to have him as a brother as well.
What's your memories of the Cowboys organisation back then? It was a strange time, obviously, for the game over in Australia, but the Cowboys were a real beacon of what the competition were trying to do.
Yeah, they were, mate. The crowds and the supporter base was unbelievable. You're like movie stars up there, and that was probably a bit of a pitfall as well. You're sort of up there as a young 19, 20-year-old, and to be honest, rugby league at times probably took second, was probably put second, in terms of having a good time in front of it. So when you're that age, and it probably I think in the first probably 8 or 9 years, I think that was probably the case with nearly everyone that sort of with the teams that were up there. You were treated like movie stars, massive support base, great facilities. It just had everything, and then it was too good that it wouldn't in time become. It was always going to become what it become. Obviously, they've dropped off a little bit now, but they'll get back there, I'm sure.
And that 97 Super League season saw the World Club Challenge. The Cowboys were struggling in the domestic competition. Was that World Club Challenge a bit of a light relief for you guys?
Yeah, it was, mate. I think that was really tight, that Super League competition that year. I think we ended up at the bottom, but we're only a win on. I think it was a win or two outside the 5. So it was probably one of our better years. We played some good footy. Obviously, it was a weaker comp because the two comps weren't combined. So, but yeah, no, it was good. I loved going over there. It was the first time. There's nothing like playing in front of an English crowd. How they get involved, and I think anyone that goes over there comes back saying the same thing. You couldn't. There's no better crowd in the world in terms of spectator and how they interact with the game. So, and obviously, going back over there some 3-4 years later, got to witness that every week, which was a good experience.
Yeah, you got an early taste of Headingley playing against the Rhinos.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, no, it was good. It's been great actually. I've been watching. There's been a lot of clubs, particularly Halifax, been putting up old games and that on their websites. It's just been great to go back and have a look at them and watch them. And I'm not sure. I've actually seen a couple of games of Leeds Rhinos as well. I think they've been playing them here. I think in Australia, where I've been watching them on telly. So kicked a couple of winning field goals there. So that was a good game to watch. So but it's been good because you've been able to take this time and go back over and like I said, watch yourself play for Halifax, for Leeds, and whatever else. And you sort of forget the atmosphere and everything that was over there until you go back and see them. And some Challenge Cup games there as well. I think I watched the Challenge Cup, one of the Challenge Cup games the first year I was there. I think we beat Castleford, I think it was. Or it might have been a regular season match. We beat them at Castleford. Denny Orr, I think, had a kick from near the sideline to beat us, and he missed it, and we ended up winning by a point. So it's just been good to go back and and just the quality of the games and how different they are and to Australia as well. They're just like chalk and cheese the way the games are played, I think, and watching a good English game, I think most people who are impartial will say I'd rather watch a really good English game than an Australian game at the moment. There's it's a lot quicker over there, and a good quality game is really good to watch.
You signed for Halifax when you eventually came over here. You actually unveiled before a Halifax v Rhinos game at the Shea, as I recall. And how did that come about? How did you end up at Halifax?
Yeah, mate, I went. I left the Cowboys, signed 2 years with South. I was playing horrendously bad. I was on a decent contract. South looked like getting kicked out the next year. So my manager sort of done a deal that I could get over to Halifax. And in truth, it was probably what I needed. I probably needed to get away from Australia and where I was travelling and how I was heading. So it was really good for me to get over there. And I think, I was horrendous. This year I had at South, I was so bad. It was actually quite embarrassing. And then I sort of went over to Halifax, and even the first 3 games I played there, I was still terrible. And then luckily I had the off season, and then I sort of come back and sort of found back the form that I was probably showing at the Cowboys, which was pleasing because, it was pretty sad. When you get in that form slump, it's pretty hard to get out of.
And then you got the move to Leeds in 2003, working with Darryl Powell. How did that come about that you ended up at Leeds?
I think obviously Walshy left Halifax and went to Leeds, and I was really close with Walshy. I just think he's a gun. I think wherever he's been, he's had success. I think first and foremost, he's a good person. And whether he threw me up to Powley or whatever, and ended up meeting with Gary and whatever else. And obviously, I loved Halifax, but at the end of the day, you want to play in the big finals and whatever else. And I saw an opportunity there to go there, and lucky enough to be part of a great team, and Powley, I think he gets lost sometimes how good a job Powley actually did. Like, he turned that club around for me. Like, he made the harsh decisions on that first year, which then created the platform for the club to move forward. And I think when you look back at where Leeds went for that period after that, I think a whole heap of accolades should be with Powley.
Yeah, when you look back, people forget about that 2003 season because there was no silverware, but an incredible unbeaten run at the start of that year. The first defeat of the season came in the Challenge Cup final. You played in that game, and that game itself could have gone either way. Yeah,
well, we played in 2 Challenge Cup finals for Leeds. We lost by 1 point and 2 points, so we're always close. But there was obviously issues in 2002 or whatever before. I wasn't privy to them, but and he changed that whole around. He changed the whole mentality of the club. Everyone got on really well, which was important, and made the tough decisions, brought in new players, brought brought in probably from the Aussie point, probably people that were really hungry to have a bit of success, and I think that's what the club ended up with the Aussies, and obviously Marcus, and I think the guys that come there really were keen to sort of still prove themselves, even though a lot of the guys that played for Australia I think I was going through it the other day. I was probably the only bloke in the team that hadn't played for their country. So I'm pretty sure I was, in a lot of them games. So so even the Australians that went there, they put on the jersey, and it was like we're all together, so which was good.
And then the championship winning season in 2004. Just looking there, you played 22 games that season. You're 18th man at Old Trafford. What's your recollections of that season?
Outstanding. Loved it. I don't know. It was just one of them ones. It was just great to be part of, and at the end of the day, I got basically injured in the first semi. The team came out and played exceptionally well the week after. There wasn't a spot for me in the grand final, which was fine. It was just about then getting behind the rest of the boys and hoping that we won. And it was actually good. I think it was Paddy. I think might have gave up his running role for that night, which I thought was a big thing. And I ended up running the water, and that for me was just as good. I was out there, but part of it and whatever else. And obviously you want to play in it, but it's there's no team's bigger than one person. So it was good. And then obviously through that I got to play in the World Cup Challenge the year after. So that was my reward, I suppose, of that night.
Yeah, you obviously Matt Dissy got the injury playing for Great Britain, and you got the chance to play against Canterbury at hooker. What's your memories of that night, Ellen Road? A sold out crowd and taking on the NRL champions.
Oh, that's probably the best experience of your life, to be honest. I just can't. I tell the story to everyone that listens. The first hit up, one of the young guys, I think, carries the ball forward. Barry comes out of the line, whacks him, and the whole crowd's just finger pointing, going, "Barry's going to get you." And you could just see the look on the eyes of them young blokes that come over. Obviously, they still had a good team. They had Sonny Bill and whatever else, but just from that moment, it took them dead set half a game to sort of get over that. I'm telling you, you just looked at their eyes, and we're obviously 30 up or something at half time, and it was just unbelievable. And the crowd that night, they're all going for the same team. It was unbelievable. It was just a great experience to be part of.
And that season, you played 35 games that year, and some of the rugby the Rhinos played that season was incredible stuff. And again, only got that World Club Challenge to show for it, but the tries, the points we scored, it must have been great fun to be part of that team.
Yeah, it was a pretty good team. And again, we didn't win the grand final, which was unfortunate. But again, playing the big stage at at Old Trafford, was just a lifelong experience. You talk to people that over in Australia that actually see that ground, and they see that as they'd love to play there, or they'd love to even go there and watch, and to tell them you've been able to play there. And, you nearly fall in as soon as the dead ball lines, you nearly go over and run into the awnings every time and break your neck and whatever else. But how close it is, and that just explains how close the ground is to the field. And, look, you don't get – there's not many people who can say they've played in them sort of games. So to be part of that was just an honour. Again, you'd wish you'd won it, but not everyone can win. And
then equally presumably a satisfying challenge, you moved on to Salford and helped them establish themselves as a Super League side.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had great times at Leeds, and Salford year was probably one of the best years footy-wise. It was just a really good bunch of blokes. We just had a team of no names really, and we started the season on fire. We made the semis for the first time in their history. And we were a formidable team. Whoever we played, we were pretty much competitive against. We had a really good bond amongst the players. It was unreal. It was an unreal experience to come off the back of the Leeds journey that I had, and then to go to Salford and then help them get into the semis for the first time was equally as pleasing.
Were you following their journey last season as they got to the grand final?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, wasn't it? To see where they've come from, and to get all that way, yeah, it was just great, and it just gives great hope. I think what's happened over there, I don't profess to follow it week in, week out, but what you do know is there's been a bit of a change of the guard, and you're seeing these teams that back 10 years ago were down the bottom, always just trying to stay up or whatever, and now like you Selfords are actually competing and being able to go that far was great for the game. It was actually really good for the game in Britain, I thought.
And then you moved back to Australia, and then eventually ended up in coaching role. How did that come about?
Yeah, my last game was against Cronulla in first grade for the Raiders, and that night I got 12 stitches above my eye. I broke my hand. I done my knee, so that probably said I'd had enough. So, and whilst I was in there getting stitched up, I think I'd already broken my hand. I knew I had, and my knee was no good, so I couldn't run. And then I got getting this 12 stitches. The trainer comes running in, said, "You got to go back out. Todd Carney's injured." So obviously I was going to be the sacrificial lamb, the old fella on the bench there. So I had to go back out, and it was no good. So I thought I went in the office the next day. So another year to run. I said, I want to retire. I don't want to make a fool of myself. Happy for you to rip the next year up. I'll just stay on to the end of the year. And they put me straight. Basically, from that moment, I went straight on the reserve grade coaching staff for the Raiders. And then the next week, I actually was coaching. I actually ended up coaching the Raiders that next week because there was a couple of a guy lost his father, and then there was another mishap with the other assistant coach. So I went basically from playing to coaching that next week. And basically all started from there. So I ended up getting the job at the Northern Pride, which I was so lucky to get. They just basically started a team in the Queensland Cup, and they'll run second to none. It was probably one of the most professional teams, whether it was NRL or QRL. So when we had success straight away, we basically we got to within a field goal in the first year of getting to the grand final, and then the second year we made the grand final. Third year won the grand final. The club did so. It was just and it's just a great advocate for getting your processes right, having a strong people at the top, and that club was a dynamite really in a second tier competition.
Was coaching something you'd always thought you'd end up doing?
Yeah, I think so. It was something. It was probably just a natural progression. I think a lot of people think it is, but it's obviously not easy. You got to get a tap on the shoulder and be asked to do it or whatever, or go and prove yourself. I was so lucky to be able to walk straight into how I walked into it, which sort of got me on the coaching wagon straight away. Other people have to take longer, but I was ready for it. I think one thing, I'm not a big nader, but I think I'm a pretty good coach. I think I know, obviously, can break the game down a fair bit. Sort of got good relationships with players as well, and there's a fine line there too. You got to know when to put your foot down and whatever else, but at the same time, you got to have them in your corner. You got to want them playing for you. So so it's something that I really enjoyed. Obviously, I haven't done it for a while, and I'm happy, obviously, doing what I'm doing now. But something that in the future that could definitely get back into at some stage.
And having played and coached the Raiders, what have you made of the English Army down in Canberra that's been helping them?
Mate, unbelievable. Like if Josh Hodgson isn't probably the most, he'd be in the top 3 most influential players in the competition, and I don't think you wouldn't have been able to say that for years and years. I just think when he's not playing, they're half the team. He's just an outstanding footy player. He's so much like Cameron Smith. He's just a gun. He's good to watch. He's competitive, skillful, just everything, and then you got the other guys there as well who done really well in that team as well. But for me, I think you're talking to a lot of people. I'll say he's probably the most influential player in the comp.
Are you interested to see how George Williams will go in the NRL?
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to see him sort of go around for him. They've obviously been crying out for that other half, so he fits into it. I'm from what I'm seeing already, I think he'll be a success. So it's a bit of a runner of the footy, which is what you need in your halves these days. So you need to be taking the line, particularly over here because the defences are so strong. If your halves aren't attacking the line, it makes it a lot easier. And
you mentioned you've moved on from coaching now into dealing with other players. They don't talk quite so back to you. Who you're dealing with these days?
Yeah, I'm in the racing game now, but I sort of went from coaching, and then I worked with the NRL for 4 years, and that was as a consultant, and most of that was with the referees. So that was a very interesting sort of period as well. really enjoyed that time. Really got a greater respect for what they do. Like massively. They're on a high enough a lot of the time. They're actually really, really good people and very intelligent. And I just think, they're so undervalued and underestimated. And it was just that was a real honour actually to work with them guys for 4 years, because it really opened your eyes up to what they go through, to how passionate they are about footy, and just how much they love the game. So I really do hope what's going on at the moment, they can come out of that, and I hope that they stick with the 2 refs, because I just don't think people look into it enough to say that we should go back to 1 ref, because you see the test matches, you see that at the end of the year, and that's a one-off game. They're slow as. If a team's got a chance to practice that over a period of a month or whatever training, the games just go back to what they used to be, which is too slow.
And then the horse breeding?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, so started off doing the syndication. So obviously had a couple of decent horses. Had a couple of Group 1 winners, and another Group 1 horse as well. And then just through that got into the syndication. And then it's really, really evolved probably over the last 2 or 3 years. So basically do all sorts of aspects in the racing industry now. So breed, syndicate, trade, work for a leading, do some consultancy stuff with the leading trainer in Queensland. So I'm there at 3 a.m. on 3 mornings of the week, which I struggle with, getting up early for track work. But it's just part of being there and helping, and part of your education. And yeah, I've created a couple of businesses doing that. So getting there, and actually looking at potentially getting them buying a farm at the moment. So yeah, it's all happening pretty quickly.
Have you always been involved in horses? I mean, not just but...
Well, that was the problem, mate. That was probably early on. I probably bet on them too much. So, and that was a great thing about coming over to England. It wasn't as active. I think that's for Aussies, young Aussies. You walk into a pub, you have a bet, and whatever else. Over there, it's a bit different. So that was a great thing for me, just to get away from that. And I think there's a lot of Aussies in the same boat. Sort of it's too accessible. So it was good to get over there. And but it's something I've always been interested. We had greyhounds as a young boy. My dad did. So just the natural progression. Love the animals. The animals are unbelievable. Just keep educating myself and whatever else is in terms of conformation, all that sort of stuff. But I love the breeding side of it, which is what I've really studied hard on over the last 5 years. So spend probably a couple of hours a day for a long period of time on breeding. So that's why I've sort of got into the breeding side of it now. So got some nice broodmares put together and setting them nice stallions, and hopefully get nice foals and make some nice money.
Very good. With the NRL coming back, we're encouraging Rhinos fans to pick a team for them to support. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and you can be our Cowboys ambassador. You knew the club back then. They've got a brand new stadium. They're obviously going to go. Why should Rhinos fans be backing the Cowboys this year?
Because they're a country town. No, I just think they're a great team to watch for a start. They throw the ball around. They have fun with their footy. I just think, obviously they've lost JT, so they're still trying to fill that vacuum. One of their players is actually in a horse with us, so that's a good thing. That's a sport. No, I just think they're going to be hard to beat up there too. They've got their own that new stadium. I think will become a fortress. It's going to be hard for teams to go up there and beat them up there. So play some good footy. They've got some good players, a good style of game they play. So I suppose that's why. And obviously I love the team, so it's probably my fondest memories of playing here.
The really exciting one is Valentine Holmes coming back to the NRL, having played American football with the Jets. How do you think he's going to fit back in at the Cowboys?
Oh, I think after a couple of games, I think he'll just fit like a glove. I think if they get their 6-7-9-1 combination, the spine of every team, if they can get that humming, I think they're a real chance. They've bought Richie Masters now as well, who's an outstanding player. If they can get him some space, he's as good as any centre in the game, attacking centre. So I just think if that 6-7-9-1 can really get churned and work together, I think they're going to be formidable. But whether that can happen, I don't know. It might take a while, and they'll need like Michael Morgan, obviously to step up, take a bit of control there. So love to see young Jake Clifford sort of just jump in and sort of own that role. You got Kate Will there as well, who's a runner of the footy. I think they're a little bit like the Broncos for me. They've been that close, but they've just lacked that really organising halfback, which obviously now Brisbane have got with Brody Croft. So you just really need one of them halves at the Cowboys just to really step up and be that organiser. Because you're going to have enough firepower there. You've got young Jake Granville who can jump out a hook and be a danger there. You're going to have Valentine Holmes at the back. Michael Morgan, well, he's just a great runner of the footy. I think when you get a player like him, who's then the responsibility is to build a team, to organise a team, I think you just take away from what his best aspect is, and that's running. So I really think one of these other halves have got to step up and take that run, take control of the team, let him just float, let him just run the footy.
And Jason Tomalola is obviously a key player for them as well.
Oh, how good's he? He's probably, if he's not the best forward in the game, he's got to be right up there, and he's got a great engine. He plays 80 minutes. He's destructive. He can whack in the fence. He just does the little things about it. Normally you get players like that who are a bit lazy off the ball and stuff, and they don't do the little things. He's not like that. He'll tie in. He'll do his part in defence and that as well. He doesn't. That's not when he breathes. That's not when he has a breath. He's just an out-and-out player. He's just an all-round player. He can hurt you with the ball. He can hurt you when you haven't when he hasn't got the ball as well. So yeah, he's one of the. I mean, that's one of the great reasons to watch that team, just to watch him.
And they've got the Titans first up, or the restart. They've played They've played 2 games, won one, lost one, and they've got the Titans at home in the first game back. So that's a good opportunity, especially with local derby as well.
Yeah, it is, mate. And obviously, it's going to take a while for the Titans to rebuild. I just hope they give the new coach a real crack at it. Try and create some stability there. It's a tough gig. It's the toughest gig in rugby league, the Gold Coast. It's a very transient population. Getting support's an issue. They need to win back the crowds. They need to win back supporters. They need to win back everything, and I think if some stability's there and, not get rid of the coach after a year or 2 years and just have some stability there. And, he's obviously done his background. He's done everything that he could possibly do to get there. Just hope they back him and just keep him in there. And, their rosters, I think everyone admits, their roster isn't as strong as most other clubs.
Yeah, Justin Holbrook's got a great rotation over here, what he did with St Helens. So you think if he's given time at the Titans, he can maybe turn them around?
Yeah, I think so. And, it's more than on the field as well with the Titans. It's so much off the field. They're so far behind the 8 ball. What people don't realise is, there's a salary cap, but the Titans, for instance, don't have any third parties. So straight away, you got clubs who have got massive amount of third parties, which means they can have extra players they can pay. If it's between 2 players, well, the third party comes in and he gives them an extra whatever. It's just hard for them to track players because they really haven't got their third party. So a lot of stuff needs to happen off the field as well, in my opinion, and get them crowds, get the corporate world back into the club as well. Again, I'm not privy to everything that goes on there, but it's just what you hear. So I think that's a massive part. And it's on the field. On the field success is obviously going to help off the field, but I think it's 2-pronged sort of attack there.
It could be the silver line of the shutdown that we've had, that people really appreciate having their team and having footy on the Gold Coast and really get behind it again. Bit of a restart maybe. Yeah,
let's hope they take it like that. I mean, I think when everything opens again and people can get to anything, they're going to go. I just think only talking about the day when the pubs open, it'll be like the Boxing Day sales, I reckon. They'll be fighting each other to get in the door. So I think everyone's just pumping, chomping at the bit to get back in to watch some live footy, to get to the pub, to do things they once took for granted, I suppose. And sport's a big part of our fabric.
That's great. And just fine, I'm sure you'd like to send your best wishes to Halifax, Leeds, and Salford fans over here who enjoyed watching you play over in the Super League competition.
Yeah, no, it's always great, mate. Obviously, as I've just been talking about, watching the old games from the clubs you played at, and just to get the interaction from the fans. And it's nice that when people say nice things and that about you, it's easy to say bad things about people, but it's just been good when you watch them games and you get nice comments from fans and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's for the fans, isn't it? So, it's just been great. I love my time over there, and always sort of had the ambition to try and get back there as a coach at one stage, which was probably close to 4 or 5 years ago. But who knows in the future.